Did you miss me, precious?
Haunting a pre-will reading seance.
We have done well, Nadia.
I am pleased, Princess. You are satisfied.
Son, what are you going to do to me?
The Absent-Minded Professor, 1961, is pure comedy gold. Fred MacMurray plays this lovable science teacher who invents something called flubber, a type of rubber that can basically defy gravity. The best part? He starts using it on everything. There's this amazing scene where he makes a regular old car float through the air like a balloon. And when the basketball team puts flubber on their shoes, pure chaos. They're bouncing off the ceiling, flying over other players, and scoring impossible shots. The other team's faces are just priceless. My favorite moment has to be when the professor accidentally sits on some flubber and starts bouncing around his classroom like a human spring. The special effects might look simple now, but watching that old Model T car floating through the sky still makes me smile every time.
Frightful Jerry Lewis, you'll see, as the dizzy young wizard from Planet X-47 with his weird and
Visit to a Small Planet, 1960, stars Jerry Lewis as Cretin, an alien who picks Earth as his vacation spot. This movie is basically what happens when the worst tourist ever visits our planet. Cretin has all these amazing powers, but he uses them like a kid in a candy store. There's this scene where he tries to understand human dating rituals, and it's absolutely hilarious. He takes everything so literally. When someone tells him to make himself at home, he actually starts rearranging their furniture with his mental powers. The best part is when he discovers human emotions. Watching him try to figure out love is like watching a fish try to ride a bicycle. And don't get me started on his attempts at dancing at a high school party. Imagine someone who has never seen dancing before trying to copy every move at once. It's comedy gold. What's the funniest low-budget special effect you've spotted in these movies? Those visible strings holding up the spaceships are my personal favorite.
Go ahead, Peter. Take me. I'm yours.
Way, Way Out, 1966, takes us to the moon, where Jerry Lewis and Connie Stevens play astronauts running a weather station. This movie asks the important question, what happens when you mix the space race with romance? The answer is pure chaos. They live in this super high-tech moon base that looks like it was built from cardboard and Christmas lights. The spacesuits are basically tin foil with vacuum cleaner parts glued on. But the funniest part is watching them deal with zero gravity. They clearly just jumped around on wires and you can totally see the strings. There's this amazing scene where they try to have a romantic dinner, but everything keeps floating away. The way they chase after floating spaghetti while trying to look professional is just perfect. It's like watching The Odd Couple in space, but way more ridiculous.
invents the greatest new drink since Dracula discovered the Bloody Mary. And he turns into...
The Nutty Professor, 1963, gave us Jerry Lewis at his absolute best. This isn't the Eddie Murphy version. This is the original story about a super awkward science professor who creates a potion to become super cool. Professor Kelp is this nerdy guy with big glasses and a squeaky voice who keeps blowing up his classroom with failed experiments. But when he drinks his special formula, he turns into Buddy Love, this super smooth ladies' man who's basically the opposite of everything the professor is. The transformation scenes are amazing. Watching him change from the shy teacher into this overconfident guy in a shiny purple suit is just incredible. The best part? Everyone at the local bar just accepts that this random super cool guy shows up every night and takes over the piano. The whole movie is basically asking us what would happen if Jekyll and Hyde was a comedy.
Oh, it makes all other forms of power obsolete. That's why they get...
First Men in the Moon, 1964, takes an H.G. Wells story and adds its own special brand of crazy. These guys find this old document that proves someone went to the moon back in Victorian times. How did they do it? With space paste, of course. This inventor creates this special material that can block gravity, and they paint it on this giant metal ball. The special effects are exactly what you'd expect from the 1960s. Lots of stop-motion animation and obvious miniature models. But that's what makes it so fun. The moon creatures look like giant caterpillars with human faces, and they bounce around on wires that you can totally see. My favorite part is when they're building their space sphere and testing the anti-gravity paste. They keep floating away and hanging on to random objects. It's like watching a Charlie Chaplin movie in space. Before we continue with our next movie, take a quick second to subscribe. I promise you won't want to miss our upcoming episode about the strangest movie props ever used in sci-fi films.
Who are those jokers?
They're actors.
The Three Stooges in Orbit, 1962, is exactly what it sounds like. Moe, Larry, and Curly Joe in space. Someone thought it would be a great idea to give the Three Stooges access to a combination spaceship submarine helicopter thing, and it's as chaotic as you'd expect. They team up with this scientist who's invented this crazy vehicle to fight Martians who want to take over Earth. The Martians look like they're wearing Halloween masks from the dollar store, and the spaceship looks like it was made from cardboard boxes and washing machine parts. There's this amazing scene where they try to figure out how to pilot the ship, and they keep pressing the wrong buttons and switching between submarine mode and helicopter mode. It's basically every Three Stooges routine you love, but with added space mayhem.
The Martian leader battles the wicked Voldar in a disjoined Santa to battle the bad guys of
Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, 1964, is exactly as wild as its title suggests. The whole thing starts because Martian kids are getting sad watching Earth TV shows about Santa Claus. So naturally, the Martians decide the only solution is to kidnap the real Santa. The Martians are just people painted green, wearing what looks like scuba gear and antenna headbands. They have this robot that's literally a guy in a cardboard box, painted silver. The North Pole scenes have a polar bear that's so obviously a guy in a fuzzy white suit that it's hilarious. But the best part is how Santa just rolls with everything. He's kidnapped by aliens, and his response is basically to laugh and teach them how to be jolly. When he starts turning the Martians' military base into a toy factory, you can't help but laugh at how ridiculous everything is.
Come here, tiger.
She makes love.
Did you miss?
Dr. Goldfoot is a...
Dr. Goldfoot and the Bikini Machine, 1965, stars Vincent Price as a mad scientist who builds robot women to seduce rich men and steal their money. Price plays it like he's in a serious horror movie, which makes everything 10 times funnier. The robot women all look exactly the same and walk around in gold bikinis, but somehow nobody notices they're robots until it's too late. There's this amazing chase scene where Dr. Goldfoot's latest robot girlfriend malfunctions in a fancy restaurant and starts short-circuiting while serving soup. The special effects budget must have been about $5. When the robots malfunction, they just walk into walls repeatedly while making beeping noises. The best part is watching Vincent Price trying to explain his evil plan while his robot women keep bumping into furniture in the background. Which of these scientist characters would you trust the least with their invention? Dr. Goldfoot and his bikini machine? Or maybe the guy who saved Hitler's brain? The Ghost in the Invisible Bikini, 1966, is what happens when someone decides to combine beach movies with horror comedy and science fiction. Tommy Kirk plays this young inventor trying to build a time machine in an old haunted mansion. Meanwhile, there's this ghost of a beautiful woman who can only be seen by her bikini. Yes, you read that right. The ghost floats around causing chaos while wearing what looks like a floating swimsuit. The time machine looks like a disco ball attached to a lawnmower engine, and every time they try to use it, something ridiculous happens. My favorite scene is when the invisible ghost tries to help with the time machine and accidentally sends everyone's clothes to different time periods. Watching people run around in medieval armor and spacesuits while trying to fix a time machine is pure comedy gold.
To bring new blood to an ancient civilization.
Mars Needs Women, 1967, might be one of the greatest movie titles ever. For some reason, Mars has run out of women, so they send 5 Martian men to Earth to find wives. But they don't want just any women. They specifically want women from Texas. The Martians try to blend in by wearing sunglasses and business suits. But they stick out like sore thumbs. They walk around super stiffly and talk like robots trying to sound casual. There's this incredible scene where one Martian tries to pick up women at a pool party by using scientific pickup lines about the superiority of Martian technology. The whole movie plays it completely straight, which makes it even funnier. The Martian spaceship looks like someone stuck Christmas lights on a hubcap, and their advanced alien technology is just regular household items painted silver.
Are air and water.
Robinson Crusoe on Mars, 1964, takes the classic shipwreck story and launches it into space. Our hero Crash lands on Mars with only a monkey in a spacesuit for company. They tried so hard to make this movie scientifically accurate, which makes it even funnier now. The astronaut figures out how to make fire using space rocks and oxygen tanks, while his monkey buddy hops around in this adorable custom-made spacesuit. Then things get really wild when alien slaves show up. They look like they're wearing leftover Halloween costumes and tinfoil hats. The Martian landscapes are just painted rocks in the desert, and you can sometimes see regular Earth, plants in the background. But the best part is watching the monkey try to do astronaut stuff. There's this amazing scene where it tries to help fix the radio while wearing its tiny space gloves. What's the most ridiculous alien design you've seen in these movies? Those green Martians with the antenna headbands? Or maybe that wobbly eye monster from Uranus?
He's a monster. We have a good supply of blood.
Commander.
Queen of Blood, 1966, asks the important question, what if vampires, but in space? A group of astronauts rescue this alien queen who turns out to be a space vampire. She has this amazing green face paint and a beehive hairdo that somehow stays perfect in zero gravity. The whole movie takes place on a spaceship that looks like it was made from cardboard and Christmas lights. The alien queen can't figure out how to use any human technology. Watching her try to drink blood with a space straw is comedy gold. There's this great scene where they try to have a formal space dinner with her, and she keeps looking at their necks instead of her food. The best part is how everyone acts super polite around her, even though she's clearly a vampire.
Terror planet!
Very good. We have done well, Nate. 3.
Frankenstein Meets the Space Monster, 1965, is exactly what happens when someone thinks, hey, what if we combined classic horror with aliens? A robot version of Frankenstein's monster ends up fighting aliens who are stealing Earth women to repopulate their planet. The space monster looks like someone wearing a rubber mask with ping pong balls for eyes. The robot Frankenstein is just a guy painted silver wearing bolts on his neck. There's this amazing fight scene where they basically just throw cardboard boxes at each other near a spaceship that's clearly a painted refrigerator box. The aliens' ray guns make the same sound as kids' toy guns, and their evil space base looks like someone's basement with tin foil on the walls.
Piece of automatons programmed to overpower man himself. Drink.
The Wild Wild Planet, 1966, takes place in a future where scientists have created an army of miniaturized humans. The evil scientists wear these ridiculous sparkly capes and have hairdos that look like they stuck their fingers in electric sockets. The miniature people are obviously just regular actors standing really far away from the camera. There's this hilarious scene where they try to show the miniaturization process by just having people slowly crouch down behind furniture. The future city is made from toys and Christmas decorations, and all the spaceships are clearly hanging from visible strings. My favorite part is when the evil scientist tries to look menacing while his cape keeps getting caught in automatic doors. The whole movie takes itself so seriously, which makes all the cheap special effects even funnier. Which actor do you think had the most fun filming these movies? Vincent Price hamming it up in Dr. Goldfoot, or Jerry Lewis playing an alien tourist?
Not Mr. H.
Hitler alive.
They Saved Hitler's Brain, 1968, wins the award for most ridiculous plot ever. Scientists preserve Hitler's head in a jar and take it to South America. That's it. That's the whole plot. The jar is clearly made of plastic, and you can sometimes see it wobbling when they move it around. They try to make it look scary by putting dramatic lighting on it, but it just looks like a Halloween decoration. Every time they show Hitler's head, you can see the reflections of the camera crew in the jar. The scientists all wear these huge rubber gloves that make it impossible to hold anything, so they keep dropping their equipment. The best part is how everyone treats this pickle jar with Hitler's head in it like it's totally normal. They just casually carry it around and put it on desks next to their coffee cups.
Year 2071, scientific superbrains manufacture almost human robots.
The Time Travelers, 1964, is what happens when a science experiment goes wonderfully wrong. These scientists accidentally create a time window, but when they step through it, they end up in a post-apocalyptic future. The future world looks like they decorated it with leftover props from other movies. They have these robots that are obviously people wearing spray-painted boxes with vacuum cleaner parts stuck on them. The best part is this amazing scene where they find a future android factory. It's just mannequins on a conveyor belt with people putting wigs on them. When the robots malfunction, they just walk in circles making beeping noises. There's this hilarious chase scene where they're running from mutants who are clearly just wearing rubber masks and torn clothes. The ending is pure gold. They try to get back to their own time by running in slow motion through their time window.
There was someone at the door, I assure you.
Oh, rubbish, Cynthia. My room is next to you.
The Horrible Dr. Hitchcock, 1962, tries to be scary, but ends up being funny instead. It's about this creepy doctor who likes to experiment with suspended animation, which basically means he puts people to sleep and wakes them up again. The special effects are just people pretending to be asleep really hard. Every time the doctor does an experiment, he puts on this ridiculous mad scientist face and waves his hands around like he's conducting an orchestra. The laboratory looks like someone raided a high school science class and added Christmas lights. There's this great scene where his latest experiment goes wrong, and instead of being dramatic, the patient just keeps snoring louder and louder. The doctor's assistant spends the whole movie carrying around bottles of mysterious glowing liquid that's obviously just water with food coloring. If you're watching these clips thinking, what in the world were they thinking? You're my kind of person. Hit subscribe, and let's discover more cinematic treasures together.
Give us an hour.
Journey to the Seventh Planet, 1962, sends astronauts to Uranus, where they find their deepest thoughts coming to life. The entire planet of Uranus looks like it was filmed in someone's backyard with a fog machine. The alien monster is this giant eyeball that wobbles around on strings. You can literally see them. When the astronauts' thoughts come to life, it's basically just random stuff they found lying around the studio with sparkles thrown on it. There's this amazing scene where they fight their fears, which turns out to be rubber snakes and plastic spiders being wiggled around on sticks. The spaceship interior is decorated with kitchen appliances painted silver, and their high-tech equipment is just blinking Christmas lights and radio knobs. The best part is their serious faces while dealing with the wobbling eyeball monster. Zontar. The Thing from Venus, 1966, is about an alien that looks like a giant rubber bat with lobster claws. This scientist helps this alien come to Earth because it promises to solve all our problems. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. The alien control devices are just plastic boxes with flashing lights stuck on them. There's this hilarious scene where people under alien control walk around like zombies while wearing what look like shower caps with antennae. The alien's secret base is clearly someone's garage with tinfoil on the walls. Every time Zontar appears, you can see the strings holding it up, and sometimes you can spot the puppeteer's hands. The best part is when they try to make Zontar look menacing, but it keeps getting tangled in its own wings.
Human bodies.
Do you have any human emotion?
The Human Duplicators, 1965, features aliens who make robot copies of humans to take over Earth. The way they duplicate people is amazing. They just stand in front of a mirror while Christmas lights flash. The robot duplicates walk around super stiffly and talk like they're reading a phone book. You can tell who's a robot because they wear these really obvious silver contacts that keep falling out. The alien leader wears this cape that keeps getting caught in doors, and his advanced alien technology looks like kitchen appliances spray-painted silver. There's this fantastic scene where a robot duplicate malfunctions at a party and starts doing the robot dance before exploding into obviously plastic parts. The alien spaceship interior is just aluminum foil taped to the walls with lava lamps everywhere. And there you have it, friends. 20 of the most wonderfully weird sci-fi comedies from the 1960s. From floating cars to Hitler's head in a jar, these movies really prove that sometimes the best special effects are the ones that make you laugh out loud. Which of these crazy movies caught your attention? Was it the alien who came to Earth for vacation? Or maybe those robot women in gold bikinis? Drop a comment below and let me know which one you're dying to watch first. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We've got plenty more bizarre movie histories coming your way. Next week, we're diving into disaster movies that accidentally turned into comedies.